I hope we are live. So anyway, I'm just gonna get a couple of things ready. I see people are up in the chat. Yo, chat, give me one moment. Oh wait, I don't have to type. I want to say hi to Gazillionaire, David Glenn, Lorenzo Sleestack. Good to see you all. Let me know if there's any issue with the Cosme link. Hopefully it just kind of works because I mean, I think it works if I play the preview.
But the long-term effects are even more profound.
So
this war has utterly reshaped the global military and trade alliances.
If, once again, anybody has trouble, just let me know. And moderators, I'm counting on you to maintain sanity in the chat. Although I don't think that requires much work. I appreciate you guys being present in the event that I'm going and grabbing a snack. So I got 3 minutes to grab my coffee and to find the remote control to my lighting rig. And I have 2 copies of OBS already running so that I may record.
And the sanctions.
Yeah. So, what up, Iceman? Everyone good here? I don't see anybody on the Cosme side. Let me know if you have any trouble, because I will be playing this through Cosme. I mean, I could try to play it through YouTube, but I'm not sure how far I'll get with that. So, let me know if anybody's truly uncomfortable using Cosme. That's the website with sharing the... Oh my god! Okay, good. Sorry. But yeah, as I was saying, just let me know if you guys have trouble with Cosme. And I'm going to go grab my coffee real quick. So I appreciate the you guys sticking with that. And I have a backup if the stream is copy protected. Uh-oh, I lost my lighting remote. Guess I'll have to manually control the lights, huh? Okay, good. Glad it worked for David Glenn. Let's see if I have to click anything else to make this work correctly. Woo, I was just running around to get some audio and things tweaked. I want to say hi to third for a second. Cosme link is up top. And since it's about 6 o'clock, I'm just going to open up a new window for Tucker. In case there's a trick to, getting the interview to come up. Because I feel like there's a trick to this, you know what I mean? Oh, there we are, okay.
The following is an interview with the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, shot February 6, 2024 at about 7 p.m. in the building behind us, which is, of course, the Kremlin. The interview, as you will see if you watch it, is primarily about the war in progress, the war in Ukraine, how it started, what's happening,
thing just comes
and
up on
most
this
presently how
tab
it might end.
When
One note before you watch. At the beginning of the interview, we asked the most obvious question, which is, why did you do this? Did you feel a threat, an imminent physical threat, and that's your justification? And the answer we got shocked
nobody's
us.
Seen it yet.
Putin went on for a very long time, probably half an hour, about
airing,
the
like,
history
right
of
now,
Russia going back to the 8th century. And honestly, we thought this was a filibustering technique and found it annoying and interrupted him.
So we're going to pop this into full screen mode.
He was annoyed
and I'll try to be
by the interruption. But we concluded in the end, for what it's worth, that it was not a
adjust some
filibustering
things on my
technique.
screen,
There was no
all right?
time limit on the interview. We ended it after more than 2 hours. Instead, what you're about to see seemed to us sincere, whether you agree with it or not. Vladimir Putin believes that Russia has a historic claim to parts of Western Ukraine. So our opinion would be to view it in that light, as a sincere expression of what he thinks.
Okay.
And with that, here it is. Mr. President, thank you.
I got one person on Cosme
February
right now.
22nd, 2022, you addressed your country in a nationwide address when the conflict in Ukraine started. And you said that you were acting because you had come to the conclusion that the United States, through NATO, might
Screw it. I'm gonna go for
initiate
broke.
a, quote, surprise attack on our country. And to American ears, that sounds paranoid. Tell us why you believe the United States might strike Russia out of the blue. How did you conclude that?
It's not that America, the United States, was going to launch a surprise strike on Russia. I didn't say that. Are we having a talk show or a serious conversation?
Here's the quote. Thank you. It's a formidable series.
Because your basic education is in history, as far as I understand.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, I will take only 30 seconds or 1 minute to give you a short reference to history for giving you a little historical background.
Please.
Let's look where our relationship with Ukraine started from. Where did Ukraine come from? The Russian state started gathering itself as a centralized statehood, and it is considered to be the year of the establishment of the Russian state in 862, when the townspeople of Novgorod invited a Varangian prince, Rurik, from Scandinavia to reign. In 1862, Russia celebrated the 1000th anniversary of its statehood. And in Novgorod, there is a memorial dedicated to the 1000th anniversary of the country. In 882, Rurik's successor, Prince Oleg, who was actually playing the role of regent at Rurik's younger son, because Rurik had died by that time, came to Kiev. He ousted two brothers who apparently had once been members of Rurik's squad. So Russia began to develop with two centers of power, Kiev and Novgorod. The next very significant date in the history of Russia was 988. This was the baptism of Russia, when Prince Vladimir, the great-grandson of Rurik, baptized Russia and adopted Orthodoxy, or Eastern Christianity. From this time, the centralized Russian state began to strengthen. Why? Because of the single territory, integrated economic ties, one and the same language, and, after the baptism of Russia, the same faith and rule of the prince. The centralized Russian state began to take shape. Back in the Middle Ages, Prince Yaroslav the Wise introduced the order of succession to a throne. But after he passed away, it became complicated for various reasons. The throne was passed not directly from father to eldest son, but from the prince who had passed away to his brother, then to his sons in different lines. All this led to the fragmentation and the end of Rus as a single state. There was nothing special about it. The same was happening then in Europe.
Cosme, but nobody tuned in on the Watch Party website. So
But the fragmented Russian state became an easy
here,
prey to
obviously,
the
but,
empire
let me
created
know if I'm
earlier by Genghis Khan.
misreading these stats. Right now it's telling me nobody's
His
on
successors,
Cosme. Am I
namely
reading that
Batum
wrong?
Khan, came to Rus, plundered and ruined nearly all the cities.
These
The southern
nuts.
part, including Kiev, by the way, and some other cities, simply lost independence, while northern cities preserved some of their sovereignty. They had to pay tribute to the horde, but they managed to preserve some part of their sovereignty. And then a unified Russian state began
The
to
horde?
take
Is
shape
this,
with
World
its
of
center
Warcraft?
in Moscow. The southern part of Russian lands, including Kiev, began to gradually gravitate towards another magnet, the center that was emerging in Europe. This was the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. It was even called the Lithuanian-Russian Duchy, because Russians were a significant part of this
Duchy of
population.
Zion.
They spoke the old Russian language and were Orthodox. But then there was a unification, the union of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania and the Kingdom of Poland. A few years later,
When my
another
uncle was a
union
kid,
was
he was an
signed,
altar boy in a Catholic
but
church,
this time
and
already
a
in the
Lithuanian
religious
priest
sphere.
slapped him
Some of the
and called
Orthodox
him a
priests
Russian son
became
of a bitch
supportive to
because
the
he was like
Pope.
half
Thus,
Russian.
these lands became part of the Polish-Lithuanian state. During decades, the Poles were engaged in Polonization of this part of the population. They introduced their language there, tried to entrench the idea that this population was not exactly Russians, that because they lived on the fringe, they were Ukrainians. Originally, the word Ukrainian meant that the person was living on the outskirts of the state, along the fringes, or was engaged in a border patrol service. It didn't mean any particular ethnic group. So the Poles were trying to, in every possible way, to polonize this part of the Russian lands, and actually treated it rather harshly, not to say cruelly. All that led to the fact that this part of the Russian lands began to struggle for their rights. They wrote letters to Warsaw demanding that their rights be observed and people be commissioned here, including to Kiev.
I beg your pardon, can you tell us what
Warsaw,
period? I'm
please
losing
saw
track of
this
where in history
war.
we are. The Polish oppression of Ukraine.
It was in the 13th century.
Lucky number 13. It sounded like he said these nuts when he was talking
Now I
in
will
Russian.
tell you what happened later and give the dates so that there is no confusion. And in 1654, even a bit earlier, the people who were in control of the
nobody went to the
authority
Cosby
over
link.
that part of the Russian lands
It's a pain in the butt. I
addressed
prefer
Warsaw,
doing it on
I
YouTube
repeat,
myself.
demanding that they send them to rulers of Russian origin and Orthodox faith. When Warsaw did not answer them, and in fact rejected their demands, they turned to Moscow, so that Moscow took them away. So
Good
that
one,
you
Godzilla,
don't think
yeah.
that I'm inventing things,
I'm no Edison.
I'll give you these documents.
Well, it doesn't sound like you're inventing it. I'm not sure why it's relevant to what happened 2 years ago.
But still,
Все-таки.
these are documents from the archives, copies. Here are the letters from Bogdan Khmelnytsky, the man who then controlled the power in this part of the Russian lands that is now called Ukraine. He wrote to Warsaw demanding that their rights be upheld, and after being refused, he began to write letters to Moscow, asking to take them under
No,
the
Tuck is an
strong hand
extremist,
of the
so he
Moscow
learned
Tsar.
Russian.
There are copies of these documents. I will leave them for your good memory. There is a translation into Russian. You can translate
I tried
it into
inviting
English
Gator
later.
on.
Russia would not agree to admit them straight away, assuming that the war with
Wilton
Poland
can come
would
for the
start.
after party if he
Nevertheless,
wants.
in 1654, the Pan-Russian
Actually,
Assembly
I know
of
someone who's
top
having an
clergy
after party
and
tonight.
landowners, headed by the Tsar, which was the representative body of the power of the old Russian state, decided
I
to
need to get a
include a
paper
part
towel.
of the old Russian lands into Moscow Kingdom. As expected, the war with Poland began. It lasted 13 years, and then in 1654, a truce was concluded. And 32 years later, I think, a peace treaty with Poland, which they called Eternal Peace, was signed. And these lands, the whole left bank of Dnieper, including Kiev, went to Russia. And the whole right bank of Dnieper remained in Poland. Under the rule of Catherine the Great, Russia reclaimed all of its historical lands, including
so do
in
we
the south
drink
and
every time
west.
Putin says saw?
This all lasted until the revolution. Before World War I, Austrian General Staff relied on the ideas of Ukrainianization and started actively promoting the ideas of Ukraine and the Ukrainianization.
Okay, I'm situated. I just needed to grab some paper towel. You know when you take a shower
Their motive
and you're
was
like a bit
obvious.
sweaty?
Just before World War I, they
Yeah.
wanted to weaken the potential enemy and secure themselves favorable
The
conditions
potential
in the
enemy,
border
is that like
area.
potential energy?
So the idea which
about the
had
kinetic
emerged
enemy?
in Poland
Gotta
that
watch out for the
people
kinetic
residing
enemy.
in that territory were allegedly not really Russians, but rather belonged to a special ethnic group, Ukrainians, started being propagated by the Austrian General Staff.
So for a second, Putin
As
really
far
doesn't
back
like
as the 19th
Poles.
century,
Yeah, I
theorists
think I
calling
kept that
for
impression
Ukrainian
as well.
independence appeared. All
Small
those,
beer at
however,
most, David
claimed that
Glenn.
Ukraine should have a very good relationship with Russia.
James.
They insisted on that. After the 1917 revolution,
Oh shit!
the Bolsheviks
Hold on, I'm sorry guys, I gotta pause this. Okay, so yeah, it happened. It finally happened. See, I told you this shit was gonna happen. You guys gotta hit that Cosme link up, man. Take a look. It says it right here. I'll give you guys audio on the YouTube side, I guess, but obviously I can't give you guys a video because this warning says it's gonna temporarily block my stream if I keep doing that. So let me know if you guys have any questions about Cosme. It's really straightforward. I mean, it's a little annoying on the phone. If you join the Cosme thing, you're gonna have to drop out of the YouTube if you're on a phone. You know, I mean, I'll acknowledge your chat messages on the Cosme side. So what happens is you click on the Cosme link I pinned up top, and you'll get this right here. So I'll give you guys audio for now. Oh, good, I got one anonymous user. Thank you for joining. So yeah, I'm gonna go and let you guys kind of file on in while I tweak some of things. And then on the Cosme side, just let me know how the audio is. Let me know if we're getting any reverberation or echo or anything like that, you know? So yeah, I'm gonna stay on the YouTube side, you know, the way I've been doing it so far. Except this time I'm gonna be full screen. So far we got 2 people joining. I want to thank you both for dropping in. We got an anonymous unicorn and anonymous raven. We got an anonymous panda bear, I think, too, if I'm seeing that correctly, although it's not listed exactly the same, but yeah. Okay, so far so good. And I'll get that chat up on screen. You know, I'll tweak the chat window. Let me know. I mean, I'll see when people stop joining, I guess, right? So we'll work it out. It's like the Beatles song. We're gonna work it out. Oh no, Cosme has me in mirror mode. I freaking hate when they do that. I want to see if I can fix my camera real quick. I don't like being in mirror mode. I'm not doing my makeup right now. I'm doing a stream. Yeah, that's so lame. It's forcing me in mirror mode. So that means I have to manually reverse my face. I'll do that on my own time. So I think it looks like most people jumped in. We got 4 people. We're going to resume the audio on the YouTube side, I think, right? Let's see what happens here. So we're going to go, I'm going to begin playback in about 2 seconds. Let me just, I'm sorry, I just got to shuffle a couple of things around my screens here for you guys. Bear with me. Okay, let's do it. We're going to go. On my mark. Now. Ready, steady, go.
Sought to restore the statehood, and the civil war began, including the hostilities with Poland. In 1921, peace with Poland was proclaimed, and under that treaty, the right bank of Dnieper River once again was given back to Poland. In 1939, after Poland cooperated with Hitler, It did collaborate with Hitler, you know? Hitler offered Poland peace and a treaty of friendship. An alliance demanding
Yeah,
in
anonymous
return
review.
that Poland give back to Germany the so-called Danzig corridor, which connected the bulk of Germany with East Prussia and Königsberg.
Основную часть Германии с Кёнигсбергом и с Восточной Пруссией.
After World War I, this territory was transferred to Poland, and instead of Danzig, a city of Dansk emerged.
И вместо
Danske
Данцига
Super.
появился
Hitler asked them to give it amicably, but they refused.
Amicably, such an
Still,
amicable
they
word.
collaborated with Hitler and engaged together
сотрудничали с Гитлером и вместе занялись
in the
разделом
partitioning of
Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia.
But may I ask you, you're making the case that Ukraine, certainly parts of Ukraine, Eastern Ukraine, is in effect Russia has been for hundreds of years. Why wouldn't you just take it when you became president 24 years ago? You have nuclear weapons, they don't. If it's actually your land, why did you wait so long?
Ща- Да, щас
I'll
скажу.
tell you.
Я щас скажу.
I'm
Я
coming to
заканчиваю
that.
эту историческую справку.
This briefing is coming to an end. It might be boring, but it explains
boring.
many
I
things.
just don't know how it's relevant.
Oh, nothing's boring when you got these two on the screen.
Good. I'm so
Good.
gratified that you appreciate that.
Aw.
Thank you.
He's gratified.
So, before World
how to
War
interpret
II,
it sounds
Poland
so polite.
collaborated with Hitler, and although it did not yield to Hitler's demands, it still participated in the partitioning of
Yield to the
Czechoslovakia
Führer.
together with
Oh,
Hitler,
God, that's awful. Do
as
not
the
yield to the
Poles had
Führer.
not
He's a
given the
Nazi.
Danzig corridor to Germany and
That
went too
Hitler's a
far,
real Nazi, let me
pushing
tell you.
Hitler to start World War II by attacking
It's
them.
terrible.
Why was it Poland against whom the war started
so
on
immature.
1st
I know,
September
I know.
1939?
Его планов
Poland turned out to be uncompromising, and Hitler had nothing to do but start
Oh, that
implementing
sucks.
his plans with Poland.
и Советский Союз
By the way, the USSR, I have read some archived documents, behaved very honestly.
свои войска на помощь Чехословакии.
It asked
funny
Poland's permission to
dueling.
transit its troops through the Polish territory to help Czechoslovakia.
Было сказано, что если даже советские
But
самолеты
the then Polish foreign minister said that if the Soviet planes flew over Poland, they would be downed over the territory of Poland.
война началась,
But that doesn't matter. What matters is that the war began, and Poland fell prey to the
Unicorn
policies
says, I wonder when
it
he'll
had
get to
pursued
the
against
80s.
Czechoslovakia, as under the well-known
Ah,
Molotov-Ribbentrop
shit.
Pact.
Thank you, Floral.
Part of the territory, including western Ukraine,
Thanks, Floral.
was to be given to Russia. Thus, Russia, which was then named the USSR, regained its historical lands.
All right.
победы
After the victory in the Great Patriotic War, as we call World War II,
эти территории окончательно были
all those territories were ultimately enshrined as belonging to
We're muting the
Russia,
desktop audio on
the
YouTube.
USSR.
порядке компенсации, так надо полагать.
As for
Получила
Poland,
Запад,
it received, apparently in compensation, the lands which had originally been German.
вот западная, восточную
In a
часть
few moments,
Eastern parts of Germany,
земли
up again.
these are now western lands of Poland.
сегодня. Ну, естественно,
You can
и
only-
опять вернули
Of course, Poland
sound
regained
on
access to the
Cozy now.
Baltic Sea and Danzig,
Данцик, который опять стал называться.
which was once again given its Polish name.
Вот таким образом сложилось.
So this was how this situation developed.
Формирование Советского Союза, это уже 1900
In 1922, when the USSR was being established,
большевики начали формировать
the
СССР.
Bolsheviks started building the USSR and established the Soviet Ukraine, which had never existed before.
Right.
Который до сих пор вообще не существовал. При этом Сталин настаивал,
Stalin insisted that those republics be included in the USSR as
входили в качестве автономных образований.
autonomous entities.
Основатель советского государства Ленин настоял.
For some inexplicable reason, Lenin, the founder of the Soviet state, insisted that they be entitled to withdraw from the USSR.
Наделил
And
образующуюся
again, for some unknown reasons, he transferred to that newly established Soviet Republic of Ukraine some of the lands together with people living there, even though those lands had never been called Ukraine. And yet, they were made part of that Soviet Republic of Ukraine. Those lands included the Black Sea region, which was received under Catherine the Great, and which had no historical connection with Ukraine whatsoever. Even if we go as far back as 1654, when these lands returned to Russian Empire, that territory was the size of 3 to 4 regions of modern Ukraine, with no Black Sea region. That was completely out of the
In
question.
1654.
Exactly.
You obviously have encyclopedic knowledge of this region, but why didn't you make this case for the first 22 years as president that Ukraine wasn't a real country?
Да. Итак, значит, советская Украина получила
The Soviet Union was given a great deal of territory that had never belonged to it, including the Black Sea region.
когда Россия их получила в результате
At some point, when Russia received them as an outcome of the Russo-Turkish Wars,
России.
they were called New Russia or Novorossiya.
Ленин основатель
But that does not matter.
создал.
What matters is that Lenin, the founder of the Soviet state,
И вот это все
established Ukraine that way.
в составе СССР
For decades, the Ukrainian Soviet Republic developed as part of the USSR.
по непонятным причинам занимались
And for unknown reasons again, the Bolsheviks were engaged in Ukrainianization. It was not merely because the Soviet leadership was composed to a great extent of those originating from Ukraine.
Украины и других
Rather, it was explained by the general policy of indigenization pursued by the Soviet Union. Same things were done in other Soviet republics. This involved promoting national languages and national cultures, which is not bad in principle. That is how the Soviet Ukraine was created. After the World War II, Ukraine received, in addition to the lands that had belonged to Poland before the war, part of the lands that had previously belonged to Hungary and Romania. So Romania and Hungary had some of their lands taken away and given to the Soviet Ukraine, and they still remain part of Ukraine. So in this sense, we have every reason to affirm that Ukraine is an artificial state that was shaped at Stalin's will.
Do you believe Hungary has a right to take its land back from Ukraine and that other nations have a right to go back to their 1654 borders?
Ну, я не знаю, как границам.
I'm not sure whether they should go back to the 1654 borders.
Все считают, что
But given Stalin's time, so-called Stalin's regime, which as many claim saw numerous violations of human rights and violations of the rights of other states,
государств, то в этом смысле, конечно, вполне можно, ну, если не говорить о том, что они имеют на это право.
one may say that they could claim back those lands of theirs while having no right to do that. It is at least understandable.
Have you told Viktor Orban that he can have part of Ukraine?
Никогда не говорил.
Never. I have never told him, not a single time.
У нас с ним даже на этот счет не было никаких разговоров. Но мне достоверно
We have not even had any conversation on that, but I actually know for sure that Hungarians who live there
они, конечно, хотят вернуться на свою историю.
wanted to get back to their historical land.
Интересную историю, отвлекусь.
Moreover, I would like to share a very interesting story with you.
Значит, где-то в начале
I digress, it's a personal one.
из,
Somewhere in the early 80s, I went on a road trip in a car from then Leningrad across the Soviet Union through Kiev,
въехал
made a stop in Kiev, and then went to western Ukraine.
название
I
города.
went to the town of Berego.
I was sharing the audio on YouTube by accident when I thought I had already blocked it. My mistake. Yeah, I muted that too. They're not entertainers, they're Hungarians. That sounds like a joke. It's like a punchline to a joke. They're not entertainers, they're Hungarians. They should go on a Hungarian strike. because of Dracula. So, I do want to observe a challenge here. He's got to like give Putin a lot of latitude, but it means that Putin can steer the narrative more. And any attempt to, like, you know, take control of the interview, I think Tucker's going to get challenged with that same, you know, assertion. Oh, we're going to have a mature interview or not? But this is already a more mature interview than in the past. Even though, yeah, we're letting Putin get a lot, he's letting Putin talk a lot. I've seen these other mainstream media interviews where the journalist lady or guy, will ask some dumb question over and over again. Like, they'll really insist. They'll try to put words in his mouth, or they'll try to, like, you know, like make a front-loaded question, you know, and it's just like, that comes off really childish as well. Like, I see the case he's trying to make, but it is a bit long-winded to follow, and if you don't, you know, you're not a Putinite, you're gonna definitely ignore it. As for me, I mean, I'm willing to hear the guy out, but it's like watching fucking Dark Journalist or Tim Pool. When they spend 3 hours on the topic, it's like, you're not convincing me anymore. It's like, if you can't convince me in like 10 minutes or an hour, and you spend 3 hours going all over the place, it's a bit more complicated than I'd like it to be to follow. If that makes sense. Oh, I hope so, Anonymous Unicorn. I hope he leans in and you know, like, flirts with him like Diane Sawyer. I want to see Tucker do the eyelashes thing where he goes, ding, 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 you know, bing, 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 you know, like in the cartoons. When a girl really likes you, they'll wear like a super low neckline and they'll twinkle their eyes at you, or some combination thereof. They have a leadership. I like ships. Did he say unified Germany? I did not see that coming. This is the longest minute-long history lesson of my life, Anonymous Raven. I hope there's not a pop quiz immediately after this. Good one, Unicorn. Should have got it in writing. I mean, one thing interesting is, I think there's a complete transcript on the Tucker Carlson Network website, like, directly under the video. It's like a complete... Basically, all of the subtitles are in a transcript that you can read, copy, paste, whatever. So that's going to help with quoting things. You can cast doubt on the translation, but I'm sure there's enough Russian people or Ukrainian people who can understand Russian to tell us if the translation is incorrect. Hey, what up, Jason Fox, 542 Studios. I had to mute the audio and video on the YouTube side because I was getting super blocked. So at this point, you can see me. I'm in backwards mode for the benefit of people watching on Cosme right now. I'm recording this independently if it gets taken down, like from the Tucker site. Although I plan to record it again in higher quality later. But right now, you know, we just want to get a real live reaction to this. So that's what we're here for. So feel free to check out the Cosme link up top, Jason Fox, and anybody else who's watching on the YouTube side right now. Party power! Woo! I'm sorry, I'm really immature. I hope you guys don't mind my occasional outburst. Alright, yo, good luck at work, Anonymous Raven. Thanks for dropping by, and I'll try to get you some 15-second clips. Yeah, that calls for... You're right, Anonymous Unicorn. Seeing Boris does call for a drink, doesn't it? Okay, you were watching on the other side, right, James? Cool. Oh, you were that Raven. You were that guy. Yeah, wish I could... But we saw how quick that got... So you're that guy, and you're the other guy, okay. I didn't set up anything. What is there to set up? No, I mean, I don't know if there's anything like... I know it could get a little complicated getting connected on the Cosme site. All right, thanks, Thread 4. You have a good evening, man, or good morning. Yeah, probably good day, whatever time it is for you. You have a good one. For anybody on the YouTube side, there's a link pinned up top in the chat window if you want to watch this on the Cosme Watch Party website. It's a website for watch parties. No means no. That is a good point. As one of the members in the chat says, James, thank you. However, nations and stuff like the United Nations and international courts are based... No audio from me talking right now? This... You can't hear me? Oh, okay. Good. As I was saying, yeah, you said, however, nations and stuff like the UN and international courts are basically brand new inventions. Yeah, relatively speaking, right? Especially when you look at extremely old countries throughout Europe, including, you know, Russia, as an example. I'm kind of upset still about what they did to the White Russians back in during the Bolshevik Revolution. Those Bolsheviks are real pieces of crap, and that's why I take strong exception and oppose modern Marxism, especially when people are Marxists who naively speak favorably of the Bolshevik Revolution. Like, if you're commie, but you're willing to condemn, you know, the evil actions of the Bolsheviks, I'll listen, I'll hear you out. But if you give me some 5-year-old bullshit where the Politburo was actually like a democratically elected body of good guys, then you're gonna, you know, I'm not gonna want to hear you out. You know, if you're like a Vaush guy, did you see the video of Vaush watching porn, finding porn by accident? It was great. He's like saving a picture while sharing his screen. And the last thing he saved, or some of the last items he saved during that, you know, day perhaps, was like gaping asshole porn. Vaush. Yeah, Vaush is this guy. He's like a commie on YouTube. He's like very popular. His name is spelled V-A-U-S-H. Blaine's Escape Corner was mentioned. He didn't show the video, but he mentioned it on his stream yesterday, and I looked it up immediately, and I was cracking up. It's like, imagine a commie guy with a beard. Okay, I mean, he's like actually not a bad-looking guy. I mean, you know, but he's a shit lib. He's getting divorced. I'm surprised he got married. Isn't marriage like against communism? I'm making that up. But anyway, jokes aside, he like goes to save the file, right? Then you see the gaping porn on his screen. Then it cuts to his face. He goes, "Oh!" Or like you can see him, I think, on the same screen. And he does that thing. So have you ever seen a meme where soy people open their mouth like, "Ooh"? It looked like that. In fact, I'm going to find a good picture right now. I'm going to give you guys a good example. And I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. I really am not. You know, like, I just, in this, well, I'm trying to make fun of Vaush maybe, but. Oh, good. I found a picture that does it. Okay, good. I love when the thumbnail to a video is more descriptive than the actual video about the picture. You think I'm kidding? I'm going to show you the Vaush clip while this is on, David Glenn. No worries. Sure, I speak for what I say. I'm pleased to be able to see you come back your youth sabbatical. Oh, very nice. I just got parts for my... I'm gonna find that video I told you about. This is gonna be so great. All right, people on YouTube. No, I need the video. I good thing I recorded the video yesterday. Oh, I'm so apparently I can't find it now. All right. So real quick, for the people on the YouTube side, so this guy's like talking on his stream, right? So he saves the file. Oh wait, is the Tucker thing is blocking it? Okay. So he goes to save it, right? And you can see the porn like all over here. There's a nun in there. And then he does the whoa. Wait. Right here. Look at the corner of my right side of my screen. You can see his mouth open up like, oh, right now. Watch what I have on this video. Okay, you ready? You're gonna love this. That is like sort of what I see. I see like the whoa or the, like the meme face when he does the whoa, not quite like this. More like this. Like this one on the right. That's what I see when Vouch did the face. See, look, his mouth, ooh, it's not quite like it, but it's close enough to make me giggle. So I hope that clarifies what I'm talking about. A bit pedantic, true. Putin was really going hard on history. Points for Putin, and points to Tucker for at least trying to keep up. He knows this shit is more coherent than any U.S. He knows his shit and is more coherent than any U.S. politician. I'll give him that, but he is boring as fuck. That's a good point, David Glenn. And essentially, my opinion is that, like, I mean, the guy could string a sentence together, right? And I've seen multiple times where, like, our media, our Western media, will look at a video of Putin, like, sneezing or maybe, like, stammering on one, like, syllable. And they'll be like, oh, he's got a brain tumor. He's going to die soon. Or whatever it is. He's extremely unhealthy, you know? And then we see a video of Biden, like, walking into the wall, getting lost, trying to extricate himself from the stage. And they're pretty silent about that by comparison. There's a video of, like, the previous president walking in the rain down a ramp off of a stage or up a ramp, and he's walking really carefully because it's a wet aluminum ramp. And the media guy's like, oh, this something amendment, you know, because he's unhealthy, they should be really looking into the blah, blah amendment. And it's like, you know, just it's like the double standards I don't appreciate. I'm okay with people criticizing anybody, but I take exception when people will get on their soapbox, bitch and moan about one guy, but not apply that equally, that fervor equally to their own guy, or at least to everybody. So anyway, after what? Nearly a century of utter chaos and ruin for Russia? I would like boring, pedantic, stable. Is that his most recently accessed files list? I believe so, David Glenn. Yeah, for the Vouch video, I think those are his most recently accessed files. Oh, I'm gonna mute my microphone on Cosme in case somebody's trying to watch it. Well, actually, I don't know. Should I mute my microphone on Cosme? You let me know. There's only one person. Obviously sat on his Blue Yeti microphone. That is a big enough hole for a Blue Yeti mic to create, right? It's a good one, James. Biden can't even walk properly on a lawn after exiting Marine One. He's a literal puppet at this point. Yeah, you know, basically. And sometimes you'll hear people that say that he's a puppet of Obama. I don't really buy that. I mean, anything's possible. I just think that, you know, it's like, I'm not going to pretend to know how everything works anymore. There was a time where I would do a lot of conspiracy theory research and try to like figure out like answers to these questions, like who really controls things. And you could do it over and over again and think you're on to the answer and still be wrong, like in different ways. And so it's not that I exactly gave up. I just decided to kind of give it a more wide angle view. Did I miss something? I should pay attention to my own watch party. Putin should write Nanogoblov novels. I'm gonna go share the link to this again. We didn't request it, we demanded it. You were heel to our authorities. I'm terrible. A coup in Kiev means a chicken coop. The backing of my butt. I'm sorry. I'm so immature. It's gonna be a recurring theme throughout the remainder of this stream. Me saying funny, dumb shit. And then declaring that I am... yay. Is in the YouTube chat. Coup d'etat. I love a coup d'etat. Yeah, so it's on link in top of YouTube chat. Anyone? Now, if anybody wants to join on the restream side, you know, to comment on this or something, let me know and I will consider it. Or I will pretend to ignore it. I mean, I'll ignore it and pretend I didn't see the message if I don't want someone to join. I'll be like, oh, I didn't see a message. Am I muted? No, I am not muted. "45 minutes just to get to the good stuff, right, Dave? Putin should write Nabokov. I know I'm saying that wrong. Putin should write Nabokov novels. And James adds, you know that phrase was invented by the CIA for people that didn't buy into the official story about the assassination of JFK. So I believe that the term predated the CIA, but they definitely, from what I understand, went out of their way to, smear that term, to make sure that term is associated with crackpots and crackpot theories. So certainly, I think the CIA made a contribution to the meaning of that term. I don't think they're the originators of it, not directly, or at least not of the actual term. They're the ones who kind of effectively redefined it. I want to say hi to Whooper Trooper. I left the Cosme link pinned up top. Unfortunately, I had to mute the audio on the YouTube side because it was getting aggressively blocked somehow. I see that, Anonymous Unicorn, that you might have to reboot your router. Oh. Pimped it out? Pimped it out? Did I say, who said pimped out? Did Putin say that? I should be paying more attention to the interview that I'm streaming. The Stooge Tube. Ooh, I don't know why the word stooge reminds me of stogie, and I kind of just got the urge to go to a cigar shop and spend like $50 on a good cigar. It's a real waste of money, actually, but it is. I did it once just to see what it was like, to see like what the hype over cigars was about. It's kind of nice. First time I had a cigar before that, like with a friend, he gave me a cigar that was good, and it gets you lightheaded. Okay, well, that makes sense. Nicotine from tobacco, all right. But you're not actually inhaling it. That's the key with a cigar, right? You're tasting it. It's absorbing through your mucal membranes. And then James adds, you also know the CIA funded and pushed stuff like the feminist agendas like Miss Magazine. I didn't know that specifically, but I'm not surprised. Especially like if James Lindsay's lectures are to be believed, and maybe there's some counterpoints or some reasons why you might say that you don't take the guy at face value, but he had some points about the Lives Matter movement, and like he had a good point. His argument was that the Lives Matter movement is a Marxist movement, international Marxism. And you might say that sounds like some crazy shit, right winger would say, but then you got to remember, after, basically, okay, after Floyd died at the hands of police, right? Or at the hands of fentanyl, depending on who you ask. After he died, a week later, after this man dies at the hands of a police officer, right? In the U.S., in Georgia, right? Was it Georgia? A week later, you have protests in Europe over the matter. Now, sure, maybe people in Europe really care about just treatment of, people who are, arrested in the U.S. Maybe they genuinely care. But no, these things take a concerted effort. Somebody's got to be promoting these things. These are not organic unless there's an organization that cares. And the organization that seems to care were the Marxist organizations to an extent. And I remember they had George Floyd protests, BLM protests regarding George Floyd in Japan. It's like, what does Japan give a shit about any of this? And sure enough, it wasn't your average Japanese citizen. The protesters were, the protesters were people who were, how do I phrase it? There's an organization called Democrats Abroad. And basically, it's a organization for, registered Democrats who are expatriates, right? Expats living in other nations. And that was, point is that, there's organizations behind these things. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to get at. And, there are times where, like in New York, someone gets murdered. Sure, maybe a local politician or Al Sharpton pushes people to protest, but that's a bit more organic. People are already willing to protest. It gets a little murky when, you have, like I said, really, it just doesn't seem organic sometimes. And this is like the color revolutions, which I think we sponsor those. Do you guys know about the color revolutions? I'm not an expert, but, essentially outside nations are spurring people to protest shit inside of, of the nations. A good cigar is a thing that's glorious. Huh, interesting. I knew about, yeah, I mean, I knew that about BLM 3 years ago, says one of my members. No, the founders are literally, yes, they are. I don't want to say that out loud. And yet, speaking of communist non-breeders, because there is that perspective about how people who, breed are breeders, and the term, like, you ever hear the child-free movement, and there's nothing wrong with people who voluntarily choose to be child-free, but man, like, they have a whole subreddit so that they can complain about breeders, and it's like they don't understand that, yes, if you have a child, you're putting your all into taking care of that child, you might go around bragging about it a little bit. And sure, maybe it's a little annoying when people approach someone who's not interested in having a child and goes, when are you going to have your kid? Yeah, that shit's annoying. Especially it's not sensitive. If someone's infertile and you don't know they're infertile, that's fucking, not nice to bug them. But at the same time, I think it's like sure, have your little Reddit page where you can celebrate that you're child-free and you can go on vacation and stuff. But I think it's a little annoying when they use it as a position to shame others from. Yeah, so I mean, the organization itself, like, look, I mean, the concept of saying that lives matter of any kind, including Black lives, or in particular in this case, I'm okay with that, Like, I agree in principle that those lives matter, absolutely. And I understand why people get annoyed when people say all lives matter, because I remember the first person I saw saying ALM was like the daughter of a police officer on, Facebook. And it's like, she's entitled to a perspective. That's not inherently a racist view, but sometimes I can see where it hits people the wrong way. I think, I try to empathize. But at the same time, it's not an invalid position to believe that all lives matter. It's just something that, like, yeah, it's annoying if, like, I was on a BLM side, and I assume a lot of people don't know that the organization is a scam. Like I said, the term, okay, yeah, I agree in principle that Black Lives Matter, 100%. But the organization, I absolutely take strong exception with, because that organization is arguably, I'm going to cage my words carefully, arguably a scam. And we see evidence of that potential arguable point of view when, individuals who are in charge or put in a position of authority in that organization are seen buying multiple mansions in different states. Now, if they were buying like a little shitty house or an apartment in multiple states, that would still be a little weird to me, but it might be more understandable. There might be a case to be made where it's like they have to travel between New York, Boston, and some other place on a frequent basis. And in which case, maybe they really do need to have a place in all 3 states. Maybe it's more economical than a hotel. But generally speaking, I mean, by all appearances, that's not what they seem to be doing when you really look into it. To be honest, I think people emphatically don't want kids are weird. Yeah, so Whooper says, I think people who emphatically don't want kids are weird. It's one thing with people who are unsure, but people who practically brag about no kids are weird. Yeah, I find it quite weird. Especially when they get militant, like the militant atheists who they act like their atheism is a religion, and I don't mean like, like to sound like one of those anti-science people who accuse a scientist of being religious. That happens a lot in the flat Earth circles. Now he's talking about, ooh. Okay, so he's touching on a question about neo-Nazism, and he's going to mention about, I think he's going to talk about Trudeau in a second, so that should be quite amusing. Real quick, let's catch up with the YouTube chat here. They do this stuff all the time. It's like, if you don't like the anti-bad guys group, then you must be bad because they named themselves the anti-bad guys. Yeah, basically, like I'm not pro-fascism for being anti-Antifa. Although I did create, did I create the YouTube page profile? I think I did. Profile, like pro-fascism, right? You know, it's a joke. I'm not in favor of fascism. Why do they call it life insurance if it pays death benefits? George Carlin, Saint George Carlin. A healthy species needs all of its variated members in order to adapt and survive an uncertain future. I still think humanity needs Morrissey fans, but that's just me. Oh, he's talking about the time that the Canadian Parliament celebrated a Nazi. Oh my God. Putin just cleared his throat. He is extremely unhealthy and will be dead in a week because of his cough. But yeah, so the term emphatic, it reminds me of like when someone like years ago, I got into the hardcore atheism thing, and I got into this dumb habit where if someone mentioned their religion, I'd felt like a need to like, you know, rain on their parade, like, oh, that's ridiculous. You know, it's like, who cares? Just let the person believe. Unless they're imposing on me and telling me that I have to wear like a freaking altar boy robe wherever I go. What do I give a shit if they, you know, believe in something specifically? Like, some of it's a bit cartoonish from the religions, but, you know, I like the morality points. I don't believe you need religion to have morality, but I can see why the things go hand in hand, and how in old times when people were more superstitious, it was probably an effective way to get people to behave or to control them. Let's get the 4chan boys on that cough. I also enjoy how soon is now. Also, Morrissey has a cancer diagnosis. Now I gotta look up Morrissey. I don't even know who that is. No, he's a musician. An English musician. I'll bookmark that. Yes, that's a valid point. I only read you half your message. So Whooper says, I will leave you with, it's good to listen to this interview, but careful what you take from Putin at face value. He is a very smart propagandist. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not even paying attention to half of it, to be honest. I'm just cracking jokes. I should pay more attention, but I mean, like I said, he did a freaking 40-minute history lesson. It was a bit of a drag. I had to distract myself, so I did some masking on my Gundam model. See, that's the gun tank. This is the side that needs to be painted. I wish I showed you guys the paint job on here. It's really nice. Like, I'll show you the paint job. So this is the bottom, the top that's not painted. And this is the bottom that's been painted. You can see it's a much cleaner blue. So I actually have a different perspective on Taylor Swift, but it's only because I listened to a guy named Ridgedale Brand make a case. And I don't think she's that big of an enemy at this rate. You know, like, I mean, one, I don't really give a shit about the Super Bowl. I don't care who anybody dates. I don't care or know who Tim Tebow is, or whatever guy they were talking about her dating. Apparently, George Soros did buy her music collection, or her catalog of, like, master audio tapes. And some people made fun of that, made a big deal. But it's like, well, how are you going to not accept the $50 million or whatever it is, you know? But what was even more interesting is that Taylor Swift has been going through the process of re-recording her masters so that there would be a new set of masters that George Soros couldn't benefit from. So it almost sounds like she is on the side of light. She might actually be on the side of light. But that's just from a high-level overview that somebody else gave me from their own interpretation. So what do I know? You know, it's like, definitely not taking what Putin says at face value, but I will be analyzing this after the fact, watching it on my own time before I make a commentary video about it. Like, aside from live commentary, make a quality video. But this is like the longest interview you'll get from anybody from the West with Putin. I seen how some of these Western journalists have interacted with Putin, and they act very immature, and they try to do some grandstanding, and they try to they act like a bunch of children. He's asking Putin's he's got like he had a conversation with the president, and he's like, Tucker's like, can you tell me what he said? He's like, I don't remember. And then he's like, he's your president. You go ask him what he said. It's like, what, are you obfuscating something, or are you just trying to ignore something that goes against you, or are you just like, I mean, maybe he genuinely doesn't care what Biden has to say about something. I'll keep playing it. What up, Jet Sparks? So real quick, I'll catch up with the chat right now. I could do without Taylor Swift, but it's not something to murder someone over. Yeah, I agree. I could do with or without Taylor Swift on the whole. Putin was an intelligence officer. Intelligence organizations lie about everything, and that's why I don't trust the Elizondo guy when it comes to the fucking UFOs. Everything as a matter of course. They lie about everything as a matter of course. I haven't watched the Super Bowl, Superb Owl, since Janet Jackson had that mishap, but Taylor Swift seems to be Disneyfying the Super Bowl. And then Jet Sparks asks, did you know the EU is trying to put sanctions on Tucker over this interview? I did not, but that's exactly like one of the reasons why I'm sharing this today. That's why I'm recording this and doing a live commentary, and why I threw a watch party link up top, because I know there's going to be those who wish to censor this, who wish that it doesn't get much traction. Maybe they have good points, but ultimately the answer to bad speech is more free speech, or whatever. Disagreeable speech is to have more talk. When you censor something, it becomes a forbidden fruit, and that makes people more interested in it. It's kind of counterintuitive, in my opinion. I don't think anybody. So he just asked, do you think NATO is worried about this becoming a nuclear conflict? And he says, Putin said in response, that's what they're talking about. Me personally, I think that some people might be genuinely concerned about a nuclear conflict. I think some people just like to express faux outrage about such a eventuality when they're not genuinely concerned, but they know that they can get other people, in a tizzy over that, but it's just, you would become an instant public enemy globally if you give the first strike. If you're the first strike in a nuclear exchange, or simply the only one who throws the nukes out, you're automatically the asshole on the public stage. You know, in the eyes of nearly, I think, anybody with enough reason to care. Let's keep playing. Maybe Putin was joking. Russian humor is not something I understand. Yeah. I had to quit watching Putin. My setup didn't like the Cosme link. Ah, man. Maybe I should put this on Rumble? I don't know if Jet Sparks knows, let us know, but I'm gonna guess that they probably just want to give him a fine. Maybe make it so he can't enter the EU by his own volition. Or if he lands in the EU, maybe they'll arrest him, maybe they'll fine him, maybe anybody sending, maybe they'll block money so nobody could sign up for the Tucker Carlson network from over there. I'm not worried. The wind will blow the fallout into Russia. Yeah. So let me know. I'll try to get this on Rumble right now. I'm going to go and make some adjustments, all right? So give me a moment. Because I'm going to reckon that Rumble is not going to give me any trouble with this. Although I do have a couple of challenges. How can I broadcast this on? How do I even do that? Yeah, I didn't have a lot of time before this. I'm trying to think how I could even go about, without disrupting the YouTube stream. How can I go about sharing this? I think I have an idea. Damn, did I really set up for a 2-hour commitment? Huh. Oh, I see ISP wheel locks on my connection. Put the wheel locks. Huh. What up, Anonymous Dolphin? Thanks for dropping in. Throttling me hard. Oh, I see. Well, I'll set up a clip version of this on Rumble after the fact because I'm not even prepared to stream on Rumble unless I'm going to try the Rumble streaming service. Maybe I can get it to route through there without giving me any trouble. And that's a good point, Jet says, Jet Sparks. I don't get it either, James. You can't sanction an individual? Question mark? Oh, I see. So you can't even get Rumble on another tab this instant. My cable internet were down a couple hours today. They pled technical difficulties. Cable. Yeah, cable can get a little janky, especially when you have water on the line. I'll give you my whole experience with cable and the ups and downs and how I was able to get solutions eventually. But yeah, in all seriousness, I know Cosme, when I have to join on my phone, it's a bit of a challenge. That's weird. Frontier throttles me about 1 week of every month. All right, I'm muting the Cosme side for now, just so that I can talk without disrupting the video. Frontier throttles me about 1 week out of every month. Unless you use Starlink or something like that. Ah, yeah. Well, Starlink has its higher latency, but it's very good for what it is. Like, I don't trust Putin as far as like a piss, but I think that it's valuable to like comprehend this and what everyone's saying here, so that when the media gives their talking points, we could see which talking points are absurd and which ones are not. Because I am quite certain there's going to be a couple of absurd talking points. Nord Stream, oh. Hughes is like a satellite ISP, last I remember. And I don't know if they've upgraded to be like Starlink, but I know Hughes used to be a more primitive, I think low upstream. Some people use portable hotspots, but I think it's a bit insane to use a portable hotspot. Yeah, you could. That's one way to do it, James. You could use the phone as a modem. Usually, portable hotspot is easier these days, but it used to be like inherently easy to do it through the USB cable. Then I used to do it over Bluetooth for like 5 minutes, and then eventually they started including portable hotspots and everything. The only time it gives me trouble is on an iPhone, because you know then they have like a little more restrictiveness. But iPhone, you could do it over USB pretty easily. But it's like one of those Apple ecosystem things, you know? He said, I would not like to use any stupid language, but it's a stupid thing to do. He's talking about the dollar. Yeah, I'm pretty confident of it if it's Android, James. I was muted again. I'm certain of it too, James. Especially if you have an Android phone. So at this stage, we're talking about de-dollarization. I'm going to try to sign into Rumble Studio. Oh, okay, well that's okay. So how did wait? So he charges people to sign up for the Tucker Carlson network, but you could watch the video for free on YouTube? Is that what I'm that thanks for the link, James. Now this means two things. It means one, I can use the YouTube video downloader to download a very good quality copy off of YouTube, so I will. So I didn't even need to sign up for the Tucker Carlson network. I mean, whatever. I'm happy to fund honest efforts of journalism or something, right? Coexistence. You can't have a compromise without a promise. bogeyman. The bogeyman. All right, good. I'm downloading a backup copy right now. So that explains it. If it's on YouTube, then yes, they can detect if I'm playing something that's not mine. That makes sense now. That's okay. That's logical. Chris Tucker. There are silver bullet solutions. Coors Light. So I'll show you guys my Gundam airbrush marker on YouTube while we're here, huh? Ching ching ping. Okay. So we got the masking tape here. Right. I airbrushed the Gundam model. It's not perfect. It's gonna have a lot of splatter on it, but I'm just gonna leave it alone. You know, it's my first completed set. I figure it'll look like Krupp's armor, which is a specially heated armor plating. He's saying it's very difficult to understand our two-stage electoral system where the federal and the state can be on different pages. He just said pressure, pressure, pressure. Sounds like a date. He's saying that our experts, our academic experts and economic experts, are saying that things are changing in the U.S. So even though despite our economic growth and GDP growth, that things are going to change. And the question is, will it happen gradually and peacefully, or will it be like violent and abrupt? Of course, Putin would play up that angle. Damn it! I was muted the whole time I was talking a minute ago. He said titular. He said titular. I like tits. Ooh. Do you think Zelensky has the freedom to negotiate a settlement to this conflict? That is weird. Putin keeps mentioning things, or he'll mention a thing and they'll just be like, oh, well, I can't tell you the answer to the question that Zelensky gave me because it's inappropriate. I'm like, what? No, if you don't bring it up, if you're not going to frickin' mention it. At least in my opinion. Then again, he probably doesn't want to get a quote taken out of context more so. Hey, what's up? What's up? I see we have an anonymous horse here. Welcome to the show. But yeah, that's funny, James. Looks like this is not exclusive to my channel now, is it? Considering that it's on the TC Tucker channel on YouTube. I thought I was playing some exclusive crap. I'm probably gonna go watch this on my phone, so I can set up the backyard computer. I'll jump in on the restream maybe, in order to see if anybody's, if I want to comment on something. He keeps referring to this coup d'etat in Donbass. There was some usurpations. That's funny. I've got faith of the heart. I'm recording the audio in a separate OBS window so that I can mute it on the YouTube side whenever I, eat. Back to the history lesson. Back to the history lesson. When does the AI empire start, do you think? You're asking me increasingly complicated questions, said Putin. Yes, I saw Rocky. Now they're talking about genetics and AI and a neural link. It's a lot of things at once, you know? I personally don't get upset about Neuralink. Some people think like, oh, well, it could be used for good, but it could also be used for bad. It's like, well, it's like anything else, right? The motorized wheelchair could be used for bad, but we don't, you know, put a ban or moratorium on that. So yeah, this is on YouTube, so it's like literally pointless to watch it on my channel, I'll confess. Ah, shit, my phone's ringing. Yo, I'll be back. Wait, only one more question? Is this almost over? My phone's over there. I'm not answering my fucking phone. I literally don't even know where my phone is. It's ringing. It's buried under this. Oh shit, my boy called me. Oh, thanks. Thanks. Oh, wait, I got an incoming call. Yo. Did you say my chat froze?
Yes, that's literally like all because I think the people in your chat like you to chat with them.
Oh shit, thanks for the heads up. Okay, I'm gonna investigate that right now. Thanks.
That's literally like no problem.
Alright, cool. Thanks for the heads up. Okay, I'm gonna investigate that right now. Thanks. Oh my god. I'm not muted again. Pardon my language, guys. Also, I apologize. I thought nobody's been chatting for like an hour, but apparently, the chat window is just kind of... What the heck? That is weird. All right, I see you guys. I have not seen messages for like a while. I see it all coming back now. I don't know how that happened, but I will open up a second chat window. Thanks, bro. I never get calls from this dude. Okay. That's why I knew. I was like, oh, it's got to be something. And I think this time my audio is on. All right, it is. It is. Oh, wait. There we go. Now my audio is on. Yeah, so chat, I haven't got an update from the chat in a while. And at this point, I'm not unreversing the window because I'm going to have to do this in post anyway. So it's like, might as well keep it consistent. I'm more concerned about my missing Gundam foot on my desk right now. Anyway. Yeah, holy cow. There is a long chat list up here. So yeah, I apologize to everybody whose messages I missed. Holy cow. Okay. Dollar bill, y'all. That's where I got that's where I near the end. Yep. Oh yeah, so guys, by the way, Nerdporial Lifeform's got a bumpin' stream coming up with Matt Cave. I highly recommend it. Apparently, that starts at 9, I believe. For all time, you shall be remembered as the dude who fixed the chat. And what up, Disney? I see Disney Sheepherder up here. While the U.S. is too bogged down and distracted by its own internal problems. And I want to say hi to Dadman Walking, Zombie Box Reviews. Oh yeah, TFM is alright. The history lesson, and this one is free. Alright, I'm all mentally caught up with the chat. Unless it freezes again. I'm opening the chat twice for redundancy. Special. He says they're willing to talk about releasing the journalist Mr. Gershowitz. Well, that's nice. But we have to come to an agreement. Mr. President, thank you. Mr. Dictator, thank you. It's an interesting question. That's an interesting question. cocaine. Hmm? Okay, so he's insisting that they already have a negotiated, that he wants a negotiated settlement, that both parties already signed it in his opinion. Well, I'm sorry, I can't think straight with the noise. It sounds like he has his own document drafted that he's perfectly happy with the terms on. And he's going to say, oh, you're not signing my document. You don't want peace. It's like, no, we want different terms. Oh, no. I don't really know. I'm just guessing. Oh, have a drink for Boris. Coup d'etat. Okay, I guess he's referring to the Donbass region when he mentions this so-called coup in 2014. Ooh, is it too humiliating for Russia the NATO to accept Russian control of what was formerly Ukrainian territory? Putin claims there are options if there is a will. A will to agree with me? Huh. Sorry for the noise. That was a funny question. Well, the gun tank is in a pretty good state. A little sloppy over here, but I don't care. I'm just gonna leave it. I'll buy another one and do a better job. I'll give you very unusual examples. I love these interpretive voices. By the way, Magitech Mags is having a stream at around 8 o'clock, I believe, and I think Nordporvio is doing his at 9? Yeah, Nordporvio is going to be on at 9. I think Mags is on now. So, let me just double check the time of her next stream. Maybe that's on a different channel? I see it's on a different channel. What up, Lady Mist? Good to see you. Here we go. We got... Is this the right stream? Maybe, maybe not. Here we are. Yep, that's the right stream. So, I don't know Inside All Day Podcast, but check this one out. We got a number of cool people on here. At least 2 people I know of. I know of 2 out of the 6 people on this panel. I'm going to spam turtle emojis. It sounds like a date with Tucker. Shall we end here? Or is there anything else we'd like to talk about? Would you like to come in for coffee? That's what Putin could say to Tucker, or Tucker could say to Putin. Would you like to come upstairs to my apartment for some coffee? Wink, wink. You know? Okay, so yeah, that was that's 2 hours went by surprisingly quickly. Unfortunately, I'll have to oh, I put the wrong video on. I'll have to expend more time into, you know, comprehending it. I think I'm just going to jump and watch the friends on Blaine's Escape Corner discuss it tonight. They're going to have a discussion about this topic, so there's that. And, you know, I mean, like, no real, you know, revelations, you know? I mean, like, I'm not really surprised by anything said by either party, really, you know? I mean... it's just like I said, I expected a fairly mature interview, and I think we got at least that much. Whether or not, like you said, like a Whooper Trooper said, yeah, he's a skilled propagandist. I mean, no doubt about it, you know? But who, you know, what statesman isn't? I'm going to end the Cosme stream. I want to thank anybody and everybody who dropped in there. And I don't know if they do replays on Cosme. I would assume not. So I'm going to leave the room. There we go. I can actually stop OBS from recording, I guess. I'm going to start a new. Close the OBS window I had open. I guess I can unreverse the video boxes now. Okay, there we go. Wait, is that one backwards too? Oh. I guess, yeah, I know what happened here. Flip horizontally. Oh, wait. Wait, wait, is that the right angle? That's the correct angle, right? I'm trying to check if my thing is backwards or not. Oh, yeah, the chat window is backwards. Okay. So I'm getting confused here. But, yeah, if anybody has any thoughts, or if anybody wants to jump on and express any thoughts. Okay, there we go. So we're going to put the chat window back where I'm accustomed to seeing it. I don't even know which chat window I'm using right now. How about that? I'm just looking through my screens here. Okay. But yeah, that sucks. I'm gonna have to watch it again to really comprehend it. What part of it? Maybe skip through it. Maybe play it at 2 times speed. There's a lot of options, right? Right now I'm just cleaning up my browser windows and disengaging from Cosme. I have a downloaded copy for the editing software, so that's nice. We have some flexibility there. So yeah, I mean, whatever. I guess like I'm not one to watch much of the media content in general. I remember years ago, people used to think that RT was like this bastion of, free press. But really, it's like, if anything, like a friend of mine said, RT is going to, still be propagandists when it comes to Russian affairs. They'll be more honest when it comes to external affairs that have nothing to do with Russia. So that's why I think a lot of people saw RT as a breath of fresh air. And of course, I guess I am interested in seeing how a lot of Western journalists are going to respond or pick apart this interview. I'd imagine that they're going to have their spin, and I'm sure some of it's going to be valid. But like I said, I've seen some interviews where a Western journalist is interviewing Putin. They ask him a dumbass question, and it's like, this has nothing to do with anything. And it's like those Trump interviews where they berate him on one like particular topic that they're obsessed about, that resonates with the average idiot, And so that's kind of what I expect from the mainstream coverage. But I think there's going to be a lot of YouTube content creators who are going to have opinions to express. They're going to invite panels of people to express those opinions. In the meantime, I better go and get the stream from... I'm going to share 3 links before I leave to friends and streams of friends. So actually, we got a few people here. So we got... Lorenzo has a open panel right here. Panel, right? That's Lorenzo Sleestack. Then we got our friend Brian, the Nerdporeal Lifeform. And at 9 o'clock, live at 9 p.m. with Matt Cave. They're going to talk retro games. So that should be a good time. See, he's got a very nice picture of an AT-AT walker. If I had to guess if this is the graphic from the PC version of Shadows of the Empire, the quality is just too good to be from the N64 version, but I could be wrong. That's the stream where you have a group of good people on. I left that link on the list of messages down, in the chat. And I think I've covered all my bases. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can add to the discourse before I go, but I think it's time to just plan dinner. So I'm going to go and check if my new backyard computer can fit into the outdoor electrical enclosure, because I'm going to have to go saw it, cut it down with a rotary tool if it doesn't fit. So obviously I'm really hoping that I don't have to do that. For anybody watching on the replay, if you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. Please like and subscribe. And as soon as I find the button to end this stream, I'm going to end it. There we go. Okay. I don't even know why I put the restream window. How about that? Oh, wait. I put the restream window on my second monitor. There we are. I found it. So it was tempting to try out Rumble Studio, but I obviously did not do that today. One of these days. So yeah, once again, I want to thank everybody. Lady Mist, William, David Glenn. We had Jet Sparks. We had Zombie Box Reviews, Dad Man Walking, the Nerdporeal Lifeform. My friend James. Did I mention James already? Did I mention David Glenn? I forgot. This is how I set my alarm clock in the morning. I'll repeat the voice command multiple times. Anyway, so yeah, with that being said, once again, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And for now, we really will end transmission.